This is just a short and sweet little practice to just kind of become more aware of the body, to lubricate the joints and just kind of wake up circulation a little bit more. You can do this seated or standing depending on mobility stuff, and I'll give different variations if you can't do it while sitting or standing. But first, just kind of settling into yourself, or just take a couple of deeper than average breaths, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose. Just kind of landing where you are, giving yourself that kind of space for the next few minutes to just be in the body, be in this moment, take care of yourself in this way. And that it's okay, right? And that sort of that spaciousness of our own permission can show up. Maybe letting a couple breaths out with a sigh or a sound. We'll do that 3 times. Inhaling through the nose, exhale out of the mouth with just some kind of sigh or sound. And then we'll just start first with the jaw, just opening and closing the jaw as wide as you can. Maybe even sticking the tongue out as far as you can as you do it. Just doing it slowly with the breath as a companion, maybe. I like to inhale through the nose sometimes and exhale out of the mouth as I open the mouth really wide, stick out the tongue, and make a kind of as if I'm fogging a mirror, a sound. So maybe trying that if you'd like, inhaling deeply through the nose, exhaling out of the mouth, opening that mouth wide, just really stretching the jaw joints. And then kind of moving the jaw back and forth. You can even use your fingertips a little bit to help with that. And just kind of needling the fingertips along the jawline, right at the side of the face, if that feels supportive and nurturing and helpful to you in this moment. And then just gently moving down to the neck, that next joint structure here. So just slowly starting to make half circles, bringing the left ear to the left shoulder. And then just gently rolling the chin along the front of the chest. And then rolling the right ear towards the right shoulder. Chin to chest, left ear toward the left shoulder. Pausing here, really letting the shoulders droop. On your next exhalation, chin to chest, pausing here for a moment. Again, letting the shoulders, the arms, the hands be heavy, head heavy. And then moving right ear to right shoulder. Breathing into that lengthening along the side of the neck in this movement. And then gently bringing the chin back to the chest, bringing the head back up to center. You can be having your eyes closed this whole time if this feels good. Really just kind of feeling into how deep, how much sensation you want to have. And so here, just keeping the head kind of at midline, and then as if you're going to look over the shoulder, just trying to look over that right shoulder. But don't strain here. And then inhaling to center, exhaling over that left shoulder. And this isn't about like craning the neck. It's just sort of opening into the joint structure here. Letting the movement be kind of fluid, just going side to side. And just coming back to center. If it's available to you, interlacing the fingers and bringing the interlaced hands back to the back of the neck. I don't love doing full circles with the neck because so often we can collapse into the neck and create compression there when we're really trying to stretch and lengthen. So this is a really nice way to avoid that compression while still kind of stretching through the front of the neck. So here with the hands kind of at the base of the skull and just supporting the neck, the fingers can be interlaced or unlock them and just let the fingers be at the neck, whatever way feels supportive to you. And then here, make full circles of the head so that the neck can still stay really long even as you bring the head back and forward, going 3 times slowly in one direction, and then 3 times slowly in the other direction. And then back to center. Moving down into the shoulders. Just bringing the fingertips to the shoulders if that's available to you, and just starting to make circles kind of with the elbows. But of course, that's actually helping to create this beautiful rotation with the shoulders. Bring the elbows forward and as far back as you can draw them towards each other without strain, striving, or really even any stress on the joints. Really just working on circulation. Excuse me. And then 3 times in the other direction. And then I just like to kind of shake it out, kind of move the shoulders freely. If you're in the chair, you can just kind of hang forward. If you're standing on the floor, you can kind of let the upper body hang forward and just let the shoulders really shake and move. And then just making as full circles as you possibly can, just of circling the arms around one direction and the other direction. And then coming to hug yourself, just to kind of open through the shoulder blade too. So bringing the arms out in front of you, one arm on top of the other, and just bringing the hands as far around the back of the body or side of the body as is available. And just take a couple of deep breaths here, really feeling that opening in the back of the shoulders here. Let it out through the mouth if that feels supportive to you. And then releasing through those arms, just shaking those arms out. Letting the arms hang. If you're in the chair, just at the sides of the chair. Of course, if you're standing, just at the sides of the legs. Letting the fingers be really long and just as if you were just kind of lifting the fingers up towards the shoulders and down, just to become aware of the elbows. We've already done work with the elbows because of how they're connected with the shoulders and that movement there. But just kind of intentionally bringing awareness to the elbows and just lengthening and folding them a couple of times. Then coming down to the wrists, just rolling them out 3 times in one direction, 3 times in the other direction. And then just kind of dancing the wrists around a little bit. See if you can try to move them in every possible way that you feel you can, again without straining or like this forcefulness that can show up. And then sort of shaking out the hands and wrists and arms. And then just becoming more aware of the fingers. And same thing here, just kind of trying to move the joints of the fingers. There's a lot of them here. Just in all sorts of directions. You can press palm to palm if you'd like, and really like kind of open into the hands by sort of moving the hands around with the palms pressing into one another. You can sort of play around with anything that feels good just to wake up those joints. And then again, shaking the whole arm, the whole head too. And we're going to move down into the really complex joint structures of the hips. If you're in a chair, just kind of scoot forward a little bit if that's available to you. And start to just gently circle the upper body over the lower body. So you're just kind of circling the torso 3 times really slowly, going in one direction, and then 3 times in the other direction. This is just a really beautiful stretch of the hips. If you're standing, you can do the same thing. Just kind of moving around the hips here. And then coming back to center, letting the arms just hang, and then just gently hanging as if there was a heavier weight in that right hand. If it calls, you can drape the left hand behind you, palm facing away from you. Right ear is just kind of dragging down towards that right shoulder, as well as you just start to slowly open into the side to help open into the side of the hip there. Just a couple of moments here, just feeling that opening. And then just sort of falling forward towards the center. So if you're in the chair, you'll just kind of hang over your thighs as far as feels good to just stretch the back of the hips there a little bit. If you're standing, you can come into this kind of just hanging over the legs, letting the head and arms be really heavy, really feeling just sort of the back of the body here, keeping the knees soft, the hips soft, the face and jaw, all the other joints we've already visited, trying to keep those as soft as possible. You can shake out the head and neck here too if it's hanging while in seated or in standing. And then just really slowly coming back up to prepare to kind of gently sway over toward that left side. So you can come all the way back up and then go to the left, or you can kind of come part way up and just start sort of swaying over to the left as if you're carrying a heavier weight in that left hand to just sort of hang the arm and shoulder, the left ear moving towards the left shoulder. The right arm can just kind of rest on your side, or if it feels good and is available to you, you can drape that right arm behind you, palm facing away from you, and just hanging out here as soft as you can be for a couple of moments. And then gently, gently coming back to center, slowly starting to kind of roll your way back up to a seat or just standing. And whether you're in the seat or you're in a standing place, lifting your right leg. And if you're standing and balance is a challenge, or you just don't even have to think about balance, just hold on to something. And just slowly moving the leg in circles, just to move around the hip. If you're standing, you can get a little bit more creative often than if you're sitting, just because, of course, the restriction of the chair. But even in the chair, you can do a lot of just kind of exploration in that hip joint, lifting the leg higher or lower, letting it swing kind of to the side of the chair. Just doing a little bit of movement in that hip, some free movement. Just waking up to an awareness of this place. And then doing the same thing on the other side. Move over to that left side, exploring the joint of the hip. Letting any breaths out with a sigh or a sound, just kind of to release anything through that breath that wants to be released in that way. It's not a panacea, but it can be super helpful just to have those really cathartic breaths out of the mouth. And then just coming back to center as you feel ready, just sort of feeling any sensations available in those hips. And we're just going to lengthen and kind of compress the knee a few times on both the legs. The knee is like the elbow. It's not as, it doesn't have as much range of motion. You can move that lower leg sort of side to side a little bit, and then going to the other side, just bending and lengthening that leg to feel the knee. And then maybe moving that lower leg side to side. I like to sometimes massage my kneecaps here too, because it just can feel really nice for the circulation. But if that doesn't feel resonant to you, don't do it. And then again, if you're in the chair, just kind of lifting that right leg to roll out the ankle a few times in one direction, a few times in the other direction, just pointing and flexing a few times. And then again, sort of free movement. If you're standing, same exact thing. If you wanted to work on balance at the same time, do it. If not, hang on to something. And then while you're doing the ankle, you can also kind of come into the toes a little bit too, just starting to move the toes as much as possible, wiggling them. You can kind of press them into the floor in one direction and the other direction. Just sort of, again, moving them playfully as much as you can. And then when you're ready, going to the other side, rolling that ankle a few times one direction and then the other. And then let the movement be a bit more chaotic. And then same with through the toes, just sort of let it be a little bit more free form, not so controlled. And then shake that leg out. Shake, 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 shake it as much as you can, right up into the hip. Come to the other side, shake, 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 shake as much as you can, right up into the hip. And whether you're seated or standing, and if you've been seated this whole time and you wanted just for this stand, we're going to try to sort of shake everywhere. Again, this is really about circulation and mobilization within the body. So starting to shake the arms, the hands, the legs, the hips, and the face, all of it is shaking as much as you're willing to. Okay, and then when you feel like you've gotten a lot of kind of energy, revitalization, reoxygenation, moving in any other way that the body might be calling for you. And I'm going to really invite you to, even once this recording ends, to keep going. If now you've sort of woken up this connection with the body and you want to keep doing movement, do it. The body is meant to be moved in these in graceful ways, in fast ways, and slow ways, and just sort of exploring that with as much playfulness, curiosity, and kindness as you can. Really meeting the body as it is, rather than kind of the story of the body or how the mind wants the body to be. But this also can be it. So just once you feel like you've shaken enough, you've moved enough, come back into a place of quietness and just notice yourself. Feel the breath moving, feel how all of the joint structures feel, how the circulation feels. Just breathing here for a little while, quiet within yourself. And then either keep moving or move on with whatever's next.